full of hate. He butters, cries, and a dark shadow falls over this troll. From the ashes of a once great fandom has risen a meme, an LOL that must be liked. We look to the airwaves for a vindicator, someone to strike fear in the dark basement of the parents who created him. The battle between fan and smart has begun. With a head on his shoulders stands the smart fan, a speaker of truths, with a voice of silence, and a radio show of justice. This is Ring Rust.
So, got a couple of shows to review. Not really big shows, but, you know, if you're interested in such things, I'll review them. And I got another show for this coming Sunday to preview. So, let's get to it. This past Friday was the TNA One Night Only Knockouts Knockdown, featuring 8 knockouts and 8 indie women. The winner of these matches advanced further to the Knockouts Gauntlet match to crown the Queen of the Knockouts. And it was recorded on March 17th, but they only got around to broadcasting it April 22nd, so the results have been out there for a while. But in the event you haven't looked it up, and in the event you haven't watched it, or have watched it and want to hear my thoughts on it, or... Anyway, so Allison Kay defeated Gail Kim by countout to qualify for the Knockouts Gauntlet. And Cherry Bomb, recently signed to TNA, actually shortly after this, presumably, defeated Velvet Sky to advance to the second round, I guess, of the Knockouts Gauntlet. You were listening to Ring Rust Redux on Jabronology TV. Well, they don't go for classifications. Well, too bad. This is Fabo Mark Jabroni. You are listening to Ring Rust. Oh, not a 3.5. CHMRFM. So next up, we have Rosemary, who defeated Vita Scott to move to the finals of the finals, second round, whatever. I'll just call it finals, probably, because it's finals. It's the main event of the show, so for the Queen of the Knockouts. And I looked up Rosemary, actually. It's like, I bet, because whenever I see her, it's like, looks like underneath that makeup, she'd be real pretty. So I click on the link here on Wikipedia, and turns out it's Courtney Rush who's portraying Rosemary. And yes, she's fairly pretty. And I see something else that piqued my particular interest. 2011, she was in Monster Brawl. I believe I have that DVD at home. And in 2012, she also, as well as myself, starred in Beatdown, a locally made wrestling film. So, anyway, next up, Jade defeated Leva Bates, again to advance to the finals of the Queen of the Knockout. You are listening to Ring Rust Redux on Jabronology TV. So, next up, Barbie Hayden defeated Raquel to, again, advance to the Knockouts Gauntlet match. And Marty Bell defeated Jamie Jameson to advance to that Queen of the Knockouts Gauntlet match. So it's not really a terribly dynamic show. All the matches sort of have the same... Well, not sort of. They actually all literally have the same stipulation. So, and it all leads to the end of the show. I mean, it's a solid idea for booking a show. I mean, people love gauntlets or tournaments or whatever, so, you know, whatever you want to call it, and there you go. So, a tournament to proclaim a champion of something, a winner of something. So, and the winner is you. Yay, I'm a winner. And you're listening to Ring Rust Redux on Jabronology TV.
Well, boy, I tell you, that was the best dang kick in the head I ever did give.
This is Fanboy Mark Jabroni. You're listening to Ring Rust. Oh, not a 3.0. CHMRFM. So the next two matches, Rebel defeated Sherry Martinez, or Martinez. I never know how to pronounce that name. again to get into the Queen of the Knockouts gauntlet. And Madison Rayne defeated Diona Perazzo, who's under some other name now. I think actually, isn't she on NXT now? I think she was on last week's episode of NXT. I think. Anyway, well, she's getting around, so good for her.
On second thought, you go first.
It's sticking.
Go forth and multiply and bring pictures.
You're listening to Wrestling Superstar, the Triple X Sex Express Sexy Eddie, and you're listening to Ring Rust, the one and only wrestling talk radio show.
We did this before she did hers, so shut up. This is Fireball Mark Jabroni. You're listening to Ring Rust. Oh, not a 3.5 CHMRFM. So ending things off, we got 2 matches left for the Knockouts Knockdown for you. From the Universal Studios in Orlando, Florida, Maria and Mike Bennett defeated Gail Kim and DJZ in an intergender tag team match because everyone else needed to rest because they're going into the gauntlet and they didn't want to just go right into the gauntlet. So I even do that in video games. If I have 2 characters who are the same person but in different costumes, I put a rest match between them so they have time to change their costume, even though it's in a video game. And finally, Jade defeated Madison Rayne, Allison Kay, Cherry Bomb, Rosemary, Barbie Hayden, Marty Bell, and Rebel to become the Queen of the Knockouts. So I guess they'll be talking about that next week on Impact. You're listening to Ring Rust Redux on Jabronology TV. Mega Ran from the album Matt Mania. If I can have your attention, please. I just received an email from the ridiculous Ring Rust general manager. Okay, before I get into this, I'm going to finish saying what I was saying. From the album Matt Mania, that was Mega Ran with DDT, a song I tried to play a couple of weeks ago for Jake the Snake Hunter, who, was there doing something on the computer and listening. And anyway, yeah, I saw on your Twitter account you weren't all that happy about the sacrifice and, the match that it started with and the match that it ended with. Should have probably been the other way around. So, yeah, he wants me to just get through it quickly. So, well, let's see. Let's ask the Magic Smart Ball, shall we? That I got from ProWrestlingCrate.com. Am I going to review the TNA Sacrifice episode of Impact Wrestling quickly or slowly? Dusty finish. So swerve, I suppose. So I'll do it slowly because it will prolong the agony. The second and third matches are kind of connected, so I'll probably... Anyway, I don't know why it doesn't give times for those last 3 matches. Drew Galloway defended his TNA World Heavyweight Championship against Tyrus in the opening match. I agree with the ridiculous Ring Rust general manager with that. It should have been at least the second last match, if not the last match. I expected the Hardys to do their I Quit match, but I guess they did that on last week's Impact. So that's why I tweeted, the two evictees from McMahonopoulos were in the opening match, and two other evictees from McMahonopoulos were in the main event, because I thought it was the Hardys. So anyway, and Rosemary defeated Gail Kim in a singles match, and and Decay. Crazy Steve and Abyss defeated Beer Money, Bobby Roode, and James Storm to win the TNA World Tag Team Championships. Because, of course, Bobby Roode is headed to NXT, as is Eric Young. Like me on Facebook, tinyurl.com/ringrust. Follow me on Twitter @MarkJabroni. And subscribe to Jabronology TV, youtube.com/fanboymarkjabroni. time for this week's Macho Fact. A grizzly bear once attacked Randy Savage. He decided to adopt its orphaned cubs. And the Macho Man can dislocate your skull. This is Fireball Mark Cerrone. You are listening to Ring Rust on Not a 3.5 CHRFM. So the last two matches, since there are only five matches on the 2-hour episode of, well, it was a regular episode of Impact. It was a regular length, I should say, episode of Impact. But they converted some of their pay-per-views to just episodes of Impact, which is a nice idea. They don't need that many pay-per-views. They don't need a different pay-per-view every month. Differentiating themselves from WWE that much more. Mike Bennett defeated Ethan Carter III in a no disqualification match to actually hand him his first pinfall defeat. Because up to that point, Ethan Carter III, even though he'd won and lost 2 World Heavyweight titles, he'd never been pinned or submitted. So the interesting stipulation to end officially that, if you want to call it a winning streak, I suppose. Well, it's not a winning streak, I suppose. It's an undefeated streak in that he hasn't been pinned or submitted. So anyway. And finally, Bram defeated Eric Young in a Falls Count Anywhere match to win the King of the Mountain Championship in a not King of the Mountain match. But then again, the King of the Mountain match is kind of confusing, so I don't know why they bothered changing the name of the belt. I liked it when it was the TV title, actually. I don't know why they didn't stop at the TV title. It's been so many different titles. It started off as the Legends title. It was the TV title. I don't remember what it was called when Eric Young was the head of World Elite, and he was that champion then. And I think it's been something else, and now it's the King of the Mountain. So, I don't know what they're doing, but I guess they must have confidence. I mean, I like the design of the belt. I just don't like the fact that they keep renaming it. Like I said, just give it one name and leave it at that. Again, the TV title. I would have been happy leaving it there. You are listening to Ring Rust Redux on Jabronology TV. So, the pre-show match for Payback, which is this Sunday on the WWE Network from the Allstate Arena in Richmond, Illinois. There is no Sherman, Illinois. Anyway, enough of that. Kalisto will be defending his U.S. title against Ryback, and I can see Ryback finally winning the U.S. title, actually. So whether or not that comes to pass, I don't know, but we'll see. I'm sure either way it'll be a rather dynamic and punch-tastic match.
Packer Jim.
Dolph Ziggler will be taking on Baron Corbin. I imagine Baron Corbin will finally get a solid win over that because he just got onto the main roster and they obviously want to do something with him. So, good luck. Enzo Amore and Colin Cassidy will be taking on the Vaudevillains, Aiden English and Simon Gotch, to determine the number one contender for the WWE Tag Team Championships, with the possibility of the New Day actually giving them that title match at Payback. I anticipate the Vaudevillains to win it. Not that I don't like Enzo and Big Cass. I actually do. Rather, I actually like them more than the Vaudevillains as characters. But I just don't see them winning it just yet. Maybe they'll go after it for a while and then not that the Vaudevillains are going to win the titles either, but I just see the Vaudevillains getting the number one contendership first. So, and Charlotte will be defending her WWE Women's Championship against Natalya, and Charlotte's father, Nature Boy Ric Flair, will be in her corner, and Natalya will have her uncle, WWE Hall of Famer Bret Hart, in her corner. You are listening to Ring Rust Redux on Jabronology TV. Sami Zayn will be taking on Kevin Owens in a singles match. Kind of expect Kevin Owens to come out on top of that one. Mainly because, he's bigger and still remarkably fast for a guy his size. He's been wrestling for years and he was not that big the whole time. He just put on weight the past 10 years, I think. So 5 to 10 years he put on weight. And he still moves like he did when he debuted. So, and also Dean Ambrose will be taking on Chris Jericho in another singles match. I anticipate Dean Ambrose coming out on top of that one. Not that I don't like Chris Jericho. He's still my favorite wrestler, but, you know, that's the position he's in now. He's there to help new wrestlers come up on the card. So, and I have to assume that's what he's there doing. Like me on Facebook, tinyurl.com/ringrust. Follow me on Twitter @MarkJabroni, and subscribe to Jabronology TV, youtube.com/fanboymarkjabroni. Mike The Miz Mizan will be defending his Intercontinental Championship against Antonio Cesaro. Again, Cesaro's challenging for the first time for the title, so he's probably not going to win it. I wouldn't be disappointed, certainly, if he did win it, but that's just the way it kind of is. They kind of don't win their title. It's more, there's significantly more examples of people not winning a title the first time they challenge for it than there are wrestlers winning the title, actually winning it the first time they challenge for it. But anyway, and Roman Reigns, the exact same scenario. Roman Reigns is defending his heavyweight championship against AJ Styles. As much as people like AJ Styles and as much as people like Cesaro, I don't think, although one of them could win, just to quote, send the funds home happy, unquote. I imagine in that case it would probably be Cesaro. You know, Cesaro would be the exception to the rule. He'd win the Intercontinental title. I still don't see AJ Styles, not for the heavyweight title anyway, because, I don't know, maybe it's just me. That's it for another show, kiddies. Check me out on Facebook, where you can keep track of all the news that's right on the mark, from around ringside to the latest concerts. See you at the shows. Later days.
This is 93.5 CHMR FM.